My life took a dramatic turn in 2010. I was happily married to my wife, and we welcomed our first child into the world. Little did I know that a storm was brewing right next door. One November night, as my wife slept peacefully, a message on her phone shattered the tranquility. A flirty message from our neighbor, the person we trusted, who had been sharing intimate messages, nudes, and even planning secret meetups since the early days of our marriage. It felt like the ground beneath me crumbled as I scrolled through the damning evidence, capturing each betrayal with screenshots. In a moment of disbelief and anger, I decided to confront the truth. I reached out to our neighbor's wife, Maggie, revealing the affair that had been going on under our noses. Maggie and I shared a common tragedy: our spouses had not only cheated on us but had also abandoned their families. Devastated, I told my wife I wanted a divorce. Despite her tears and pleas, I couldn't find it in me to forgive and forget. I even went to the extent of getting a paternity test for our child, wanting to be absolutely certain about our connection. Within days, I returned home to find our baby crying in an empty house. A letter left behind explained that my wife had left with her affair partner, declaring she never loved me. It was a heartbreaking revelation, especially considering the abandonment of our infant child. I sought out Maggie, only to discover that she, too, had received a similar letter from her husband. We bonded over our shared pain, and despite the hardships, we became each other's pillars of support. Maggie, dealing with postpartum depression and left alone with her newborn, joined me in navigating the challenging path of single parenthood. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Maggie and I formed an unbreakable bond. She became a mother figure to my child, and we decided to face the world together. We became engaged a year later and married in 2013. Our love grew, and we welcomed another child into our lives in 2015. In 2018, as our family thrived, a revelation shook us. My son accidentally stumbled upon a picture of my ex-wife. Faced with the inevitable questions, Maggie and I decided to protect him from the harsh truth. We told him that his birth mother had tragically died in a car accident, and Maggie had been his loving caretaker since he was 6 months old. 2 days ago, my world took an unexpected turn when I received an anonymous email that would bring back a flood of emotions. As I opened the message, the words hit me like a ton of bricks: "I want to see my son and want my family back." It was from my estranged ex-wife, the one who had left me and our child a decade ago. In a mix of shock and disbelief, I decided to share the message with Maggie, my pillar of strength. Her initial reaction was one of panic, fearing the possible upheaval this might bring to our lives. In a moment of uncertainty, she turned to me, eyes wide with concern, and asked if I would consider taking my ex-wife back. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm of emotions within me, and reassured Maggie. I reminded her that my ex was a part of an ugly past, a chapter of betrayal and heartbreak that I had willingly closed. I looked into Maggie's eyes and affirmed that I would never leave her, never go back to a person who had once shattered our lives with deceit. The last 30 days have been a whirlwind of emotions and revelations. 2 days ago, I received an anonymous email that rocked the foundation of the life Maggie and I have built together. The message was from my estranged ex-wife, expressing a desire to see my son and reclaim the family she left a decade ago. The news blindsided us, and Maggie, understandably, was anxious about the potential disruption this could bring to our lives. I shared the email with Maggie, and her concern was palpable. She looked at me, eyes wide with worry, and asked the question that lingered in the air: would I consider taking my ex-wife back? I took a deep breath, trying to steady the storm of emotions within me. I reassured Maggie, reminding her that my ex belonged to an ugly past, a chapter of betrayal and heartbreak that I had willingly closed. I looked into her eyes, emphasizing that I had no intention of leaving her for a person who had once shattered our lives with deceit. As we navigated this unexpected turn, it became evident that our commitment to each other and our family was unshakable. We didn't require a lawyer in this situation, contrary to what some believed. Moreover, there was an aspect of my story that needed clarification. I had divorced my ex before marrying Maggie, and it seemed she was unaware of this fact. I also held full custody of my son, a status that might now be challenged with her return. To address the legal concerns, I consulted a friend who is a lawyer. He confirmed that my ex could face severe consequences for her years of abandonment, heavy fines, termination of parental rights, and even the possibility of jail time. He explained that if a parent fails to physically contact a child for over a year, there's a 99% chance of termination of parental rights. With this legal insight, a sense of relief washed over me. Maggie and I decided to join therapy with my son, aiming to navigate the truth about his biological mother. I also reached out to my ex's father, who is still a friend, to gather more information about her life over the past decade. It turns out she had sporadically contacted her sister for financial help, but her sister was no longer willing to assist, citing excessive requests. Her father painted a picture of her current life: a minimum wage job, a small apartment shared with 3 roommates, and a general struggle. However, he also cautioned against introducing her to our son, suggesting she might be a bad influence. Curiosity led me to contact her sister, who revealed the nature of their conversations over the years. It was disheartening to learn that my ex had only reached out for money, never inquiring about our son. Furthermore, she informed me that the affair partner was in prison for assault since 2015, which brought a surprising sense of satisfaction. Despite these revelations, my ex-wife remains in the dark about the divorce. She still believes we are legally married and has made no attempt to contact us within the past 30 days. Family counseling is progressing well, and Maggie and I have decided to legally adopt each other's children, solidifying our commitment to the family we've created together. As for my ex-wife, it seems her sister might have informed her about her legal standing and the futility of pursuing a legal battle. I have not heard from her again. I guess it was just a fizzle in the pan. Now, for the second story. I recently discovered that the psychologist I've been seeing to help me recover from being cheated on is, coincidentally, a mistress herself. To add to the complexity, my mom knows friends of hers. This revelation has left me incredibly uncomfortable, especially considering that I've been told to let go and overcome this by someone who seems to empathize more with the perpetrator than with the victim, in this case, me. I understand that psychologists are human and can make mistakes, but they also deal primarily with vulnerable people and hold significant power. I believe they should be responsible and know their own limits. I was already angry before, but now I find myself even more upset, questioning how she could look me in the eyes and advise me to forgive my ex, sympathizing with whatever disorder in his life supposedly drove him to hurt me. I feel the psychologist's advice is biased and unprofessional. Instead of referring me to a more suitable therapist, she seems to be taking a stance that aligns more with the perpetrator. Frankly, I want to find a new psychologist, but I'm not sure if firing her is even possible. Interestingly, my divorce lawyer is also a cheater. Initially disturbed by this revelation, I found that it actually made him a better lawyer. He provided insights into the mind of a cheater and helped me move past feelings of vengeance. However, lawyers are different from psychologists, the latter being meant to support health and well-being. If I were any worse off, this situation could send me spiraling. Being a therapist myself, I understand the importance of remaining unbiased when treating people. While psychologists are human and may have their own experiences and biases, there's an ethical responsibility to prioritize the client's well-being. I believe my psychologist has the choice to refer me to other providers if she feels she can't stay neutral, and I hope she is able to do that. Nevertheless, I can't shake the concern that her own experiences and biases might be influencing my treatment. Now, for the third story. I'm a 29-year-old guy, and my now ex-wife, who's 28, reached out to me today to apologize for cheating and expressed a desire to talk again. My initial response was to block her. I've pretty much given up on romantic relationships after the divorce, and her text reminded me of the loneliness I've been feeling. A few years post-separation, she's telling me she's disgusted with her actions, has gone through therapy, and wants to reconnect. I'm aware she lost her job during the pandemic, and I know lockdown has likely left her feeling very lonely. However, her reasons for reaching out now feel obvious and, frankly, selfish. While I can't see myself forgiving her, her message made me realize how lonely I am. I've gone on a few dates post-divorce, but they fell off. One woman I was seeing wanted exclusivity but, on the first night, left her phone open with a Tinder conversation saying the complete opposite. That experience, along with the effort I've put into relationships, only to be let down, has made me jaded. I want to clarify that I'm not misogynistic, and I've met fantastic, loyal, caring women. My personal struggle is the time and effort involved in being a good partner, only to have it figuratively spit on. The constant disappointment has understandably made me jaded. I'm grappling with a bunch of reasons for this. Despite my libido and attraction to attractive women, meaningless encounters don't fulfill me. I'm adventurous but prefer that with a singular person who cares about me as I do about them. The second issue is that I've dealt with infidelity in the past, always with attractive partners. I've been avoiding a woman I went on a few dates with because, while we hit it off, I'm not as physically attracted to her as others. It feels wrong to string her along when I don't have the same feelings for her, but I can't seem to get over this hang-up that attractive partners are more likely to cheat. I'm in a bit of a tangled mess of emotions, and I ended up rambling again. Dear listener, if you have reached this far, please click on the subscribe button. It will be a great help.